When connecting a generator, safety is the top priority. Let's discuss safe methods for hooking up both large and small generators. For large generators, you have two main options: firstly, pulling the meter and connecting to the load side, and secondly, connecting to the main breaker after disconnecting from the meter. The first option, pulling the meter, is often recommended as the safest and most reliable. Begin by disconnecting the electric service from the utility company by carefully pulling the meter. Then connect the generator wires to the load side terminals of the meter socket. These are the wires that run into your house. The second option involves working directly with the main breaker. Start by disconnecting the main breaker and carefully removing the wires that run from the meter. Next, connect the generator wires to the main breaker where the meter wires were previously connected. When dealing with small generators, there are also two common approaches: firstly, tying into a 20 amp breaker, and secondly, running jumpers from the generator directly to the appliances. To connect to a 20 amp circuit breaker in your electrical panel, first determine the running wattage of the appliances you plan to power. Add up the wattage of all these appliances. Make sure that the total wattage doesn't exceed 80% of the breaker's capacity, which translates to 16 amps on a 20 amp breaker. For smaller generators powering only a few appliances, using extension cords to connect directly from the generator to the appliances can be a convenient method. Balancing loads is crucial for the safe and efficient operation of a generator. Firstly, calculate the total wattage of all the appliances you intend to run simultaneously. Secondly, divide the total wattage by 120 volts, which is the typical household voltage in many regions, to determine the current in amps. Finally, ensure that the generator's amperage rating is sufficient to handle the calculated load. It's always better to have a generator with a slightly higher capacity than what you think you'll need to avoid overloading it. Several additional safety tips are important to remember. Using a transfer switch is the safest way to connect a generator to your electrical system. A transfer switch isolates the generator from the utility grid, preventing backfeeding, which is dangerous to utility workers and can damage equipment. Inverter generators produce clean, stable power, making them ideal for powering sensitive electronics such as computers and mobile devices. Never connect a generator directly to a wall outlet. This can cause backfeeding of electricity into the grid, posing a significant risk to utility workers and potentially damaging your appliances. Grounding the generator is crucial for safety. Use a ground rod and connect it to the generator's grounding terminal to ensure it is properly grounded. Never operate a generator indoors or in enclosed spaces. Generators produce carbon monoxide, a colorless, odorless gas that can be lethal. Always operate the generator in a well-ventilated area, away from windows, doors, and vents that could allow carbon monoxide to enter your home. Be mindful of extension cord limitations. Use heavy-duty extension cords that are in good condition. Avoid using long, thin extension cords, as they can overheat and pose a fire hazard. Regularly monitor the generator's performance. Check the fuel level, oil level, and any other indicators regularly to ensure the generator is operating properly and efficiently. Let's delve deeper into each of these points. When choosing a generator, consider both the starting wattage and running wattage of your appliances. Starting wattage is the power required to start an appliance, which is often higher than the running wattage, the power needed to keep it running. Make sure the generator can handle both. When using a transfer switch, have it installed by a qualified electrician to ensure it is properly installed and meets all safety requirements. There are two main types of transfer switches: manual and automatic. A manual transfer switch requires you to manually switch between the utility power and the generator power, while an automatic transfer switch automatically switches to generator power when it detects a power outage. Understanding the different types of generators is also important. Besides inverter generators, there are also conventional generators. Conventional generators are generally less expensive but produce less stable power. Inverter generators use an alternator to produce AC power, which is then converted to DC power and finally inverted back to clean AC power. This process results in a more stable and consistent power output, making them suitable for sensitive electronics. When grounding the generator, drive a ground rod into the earth and connect it to the generator's grounding terminal using a heavy gauge wire. The ground rod should be made of copper or copper-clad steel and should be driven at least 8 feet into the ground. Position the generator in a location that is away from combustible materials and where exhaust fumes won't accumulate near windows, doors, or vents. A minimum distance of 20 feet is generally recommended. It is also a good idea to have a carbon monoxide detector in your home, especially when using a generator. Test the detector regularly to ensure it is working properly. When using extension cords, avoid overloading them. Check the extension cord's amperage rating and make sure it is sufficient for the appliances you are connecting to it. Never use damaged or frayed extension cords. Properly storing fuel for the generator is also critical. Store gasoline in approved containers and keep them away from heat sources. Add a fuel stabilizer to the gasoline to prevent it from degrading over time. Before starting the generator, always check the oil level. Use the type of oil recommended by the generator manufacturer. Regular maintenance is essential for ensuring the generator operates reliably. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for maintenance procedures such as changing the oil, cleaning the air filter, and replacing the spark plug. Keep a record of all maintenance performed on the generator. When refueling the generator, always turn it off and let it cool down before adding fuel. Spilled fuel can ignite on a hot engine. Be aware of local regulations regarding generator use. Some communities have restrictions on generator noise levels and operating hours. Never tamper with the generator's safety devices such as the circuit breakers or the spark arrestor. These devices are designed to protect the generator and prevent fires. Always use the proper starting procedure for the generator. Refer to the manufacturer's instructions for the correct starting procedure. If the generator fails to start, don't repeatedly crank it. Consult the manufacturer's troubleshooting guide or contact a qualified technician. When the power is restored, gradually transfer the load back to the utility power. Avoid suddenly switching on all appliances at once, as this can overload the system. After using the generator, allow it to cool down completely before storing it. Cover the generator to protect it from the elements. Remember, safety is paramount when working with generators. If you are not comfortable performing any of these tasks, consult a qualified electrician. Understanding the power needs of your appliances is also essential. Create a list of the appliances you want to power during an outage and determine their wattage requirements. This will help you choose the right size generator and avoid overloading it. Consider purchasing a generator with an automatic voltage regulator or AVR. An AVR helps to maintain a stable voltage output, protecting sensitive electronics from damage. Before using the generator for the first time, familiarize yourself with its controls and features. Read the owner's manual carefully and understand how to operate the generator safely. Keep the generator clean and free of debris. Dirt and debris can clog the air vents and cause the generator to overheat. Regularly inspect the generator for any signs of damage, such as loose wires, cracked housings, or leaking fuel. If you find any damage, have it repaired by a qualified technician before using the generator. When connecting appliances to the generator, use appropriately sized extension cords and power strips. Avoid using undersized cords, as they can overheat and pose a fire hazard. Be careful when handling fuel. Gasoline is flammable and explosive. Store fuel in approved containers and keep it away from heat sources. Wear eye protection and gloves when handling fuel. If you spill fuel, clean it up immediately with absorbent materials. Properly dispose of any used oil, fuel, or filters. Contact your local recycling center or hazardous waste disposal facility for information on proper disposal methods. Consider investing in a surge protector to protect your sensitive electronics from voltage spikes. Surges can occur when the generator starts or stops, or when there are fluctuations in the power grid. Keep a well-stocked emergency kit on hand, including flashlights, batteries, first aid supplies, and non-perishable food. This will help you cope with the challenges of a power outage. Regularly test the generator to ensure it is working properly. This will help you identify any problems before a power outage occurs. Store the generator in a secure location to prevent theft or vandalism. If you live in an area that is prone to power outages, consider purchasing a generator cover to protect it from the elements. This will help to extend the life of the generator. Familiarize yourself with the signs of carbon monoxide poisoning, such as headache, dizziness, nausea, and confusion. If you suspect carbon monoxide poisoning, get fresh air immediately and seek medical attention. When using a generator, be considerate of your neighbors. Avoid running the generator late at night or early in the morning. Keep the generator as far away from your neighbors' homes as possible to minimize noise. Be prepared to deal with the challenges of a power outage. Have a plan in place for how you will cope with the loss of power. This will help you stay safe and comfortable during the outage. Consider installing a whole house surge protector at your electrical panel. This will protect all of your appliances from voltage spikes. When using a generator, be aware of the potential for electrical shock. Avoid touching any exposed wires or connections. Keep children and pets away from the generator. Be sure to only use the generator when it is absolutely needed. Do not use it to power non-essential appliances. This will help to conserve fuel and extend the life of the generator. If you are not sure how to safely connect a generator, consult a qualified electrician. They can help you choose the right size generator and install it properly. Remember, a generator is a valuable tool for providing backup power during a power outage, but it is important to use it safely and responsibly. By following these safety tips, you can protect yourself and your family from the dangers of carbon monoxide poisoning, electrical shock, and fire. When connecting a generator to your home's electrical system, always disconnect from the grid. Backfeeding electricity into the grid is incredibly dangerous to utility workers who may be working on the power lines thinking they are de-energized. A transfer switch is the best way to ensure complete isolation from the grid. It essentially creates a separate electrical system for your home that is powered by the generator. There are two main types of transfer switches: manual and automatic. Manual transfer switches require you to physically switch between the utility power and the generator power. Automatic transfer switches, on the other hand, automatically switch to generator power when they detect a power outage and automatically switch back to utility power when it is restored. If you are using a manual transfer switch, make sure to turn off the main breaker before starting the generator. This will prevent backfeeding electricity into the grid. If you are using an automatic transfer switch, it will automatically disconnect your home from the grid when the generator starts. Before connecting any appliances to the generator, make sure the generator is running smoothly and has reached its operating voltage. This will prevent damage to your appliances. Avoid overloading the generator. Check the wattage rating of each appliance you plan to connect to the generator and make sure the total wattage does not exceed the generator's capacity. It is also a good idea to leave some headroom, meaning do not run the generator at its maximum capacity. If you overload the generator, it could damage the generator or the appliances connected to it. Use heavy-duty extension cords that are in good condition. Do not use undersized extension cords, as they can overheat and pose a fire hazard. Make sure the extension cords are properly grounded. Avoid running extension cords through doorways or windows, as this could damage the cords or create a tripping hazard. Keep extension cords away from water and other liquids. Before disconnecting the generator, turn off all appliances that are connected to it. This will prevent a sudden surge of power when the generator is disconnected. After disconnecting the generator, turn off the main breaker and switch back to utility power. Store the generator in a dry, well-ventilated place. Cover the generator to protect it from the elements. Regularly inspect the generator for any signs of damage, such as leaks, cracks, or loose wires. Have the generator serviced by a qualified technician on a regular basis. This will help to ensure that the generator is operating safely and efficiently. Remember, safety is always the top priority when working with generators. If you are not comfortable performing any of these tasks, consult a qualified electrician.